Welcome everyone to another episode of Talent You Should Know, where we focus on the entertainment industry on a different level. Not only will there be artist and actor interviews of known and unknown talent, but insight into the team behind them that helps them build their brand. Each week, we'll tackle a different person in the industry with talents in their own rights. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome everyone to another episode of Talent You Should Know with Zag. Today we have Mawule, a singer-songwriter who is here in Denver, but originally from Ghana, correct?
Yep.
Wow. So now, how did you come with the name Mawule? Because that is not your original name, correct?
Yeah, I came with the name. I actually took a break from music back in 2008 within the time. And when I decided to come back at the time, I was actually going by Fade.
Okay.
And so when I decided that I wanted to do music again, get back in the scene, I wanted to pick a name that was like significant to my culture, being in Ghana. And so that's where the name came from. It means only God knows. And I really wanted a name that really spoke to my faith and spirituality.
That's awesome. So you've been here 21 years now?
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny because sometimes I'll look at your post and I'm like, does he live down the block from me? Because you'll say stuff like, oh, this is right on Colorado and something. And I live right off of Yale.
Okay.
So like Yale in Colorado, like further up. And I'm like,
yeah,
is he down the street? Like, can we meet down there? So it's funny seeing you post.
Yeah, I am down the street from you. I'm literally by the post office.
Oh, right over there on Evans?
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, we're like right around the corner. So I'll see you after this. So what was that transition like for you? Do you remember like moving from Ghana to here?
I was 10 when we moved, so
Yeah.
I was very young. In terms of the transition, honestly, being that young, I didn't really have much time to process it because I was excited to be here and to be with my dad because he was actually here at the time.
Yeah.
And so my mom and my little brother, we came to join him. So, I'd say transition wise, just a little kid growing up.
Yeah. So it looks like, and we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but it seemed like a life-changing experience. Like you came out of like this crazy battle, it looked like. Can you talk more about that? Or do you want to?
What battle?
You were, it looked like you had to like relearn how to walk, like you were in an accident or something like that. Or am I?
Yeah. So that was back in 2016. I was playing softball actually, and I injured my ankle. Actually broke my ankle.
Wow.
And so, I couldn't walk for almost a year. Yeah. And so it was a challenging time. I would say I definitely, because prior to that, I was like a gym rat. I would be in the gym every day. I was the most fit I've ever been, mentally, physically, holistically.
Yeah.
And so not being able to walk and do physical things for close to a year, I would say 2 years too, because I had to go back and had surgery.
Wow.
It was a mental battle.
Yeah.
For me, yeah. So it felt like a complete identity lost at the time. Trying to figure out who I was when I couldn't. The gym was an everyday part of my life, and now I can no longer do that.
And that's interesting because that's right around the time that you came back. Was that after that happened? That's when you changed the name and everything like that. When you were
that was prior.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was prior. But I wrote a lot of music during then that I haven't released. So I'm looking forward to releasing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very depressing, you know, and I think even in that state, you reflect a lot about, you know, your life abilities, things you used to do now that you couldn't do. So for me, I would say it was a great life learning experience. And I'm grateful to have experienced that.
Yeah. I had one of those a couple of years ago. I mean, it was a little,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, a life-changing experience. And then after that, it was like, well, I need to do everything that I love. Let's talk about, how did you start in music? Tell us how you started.
Okay. I honestly, I started at a very young age. My dad's a minister, so I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
And being in the church, I love gospel music, especially transitioning from Ghana to here. Gospel music, it just does something to me, you know?
Yeah.
And I love being in those settings. And so that's kind of how music came to me, is just by enjoying the beautiful aspects of just music, gospel to be specific. And so at the age of 13, I was one of the very young ones to want to be in the adult choir and not the children's choir.
Yeah.
Because the adults, you know, they took that shit serious, you know, and I wanted to take it serious too, and really compete with them and perform with them. And so that's how it really started for me when it came to singing. And then songwriting just came naturally, as, you know, I'm writing every day or singing things. I started making things up, and the next thing you know, I was like, yo, I really want to do something with this. And that's how it really started.
Yeah. Well, one thing I like that you said about your music is that you said you can definitely tell a phrase or different transitions exactly what's going on with your life. And that's, you know, that's really kind of cool, because music does that to you. Like, I can hear a song and I'm like, woo, I was in the skate rink and I was doing this and that. And it's good that, you know, even in your music, that you can kind of hear that.
That's good. That's good. That's the goal, right? That's the goal. So
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Another thing I like about, you know, some of your previous work is that you really cover some like rough topics, but like, you know, I love that you know, anything which is about, you know, single fatherhood, and, you know, the video, like literally I was tearing up. I'm like, you're crying. I'm not crying, right? And then what was also amazing is one of my favorite people on earth is in there, which is DJ Zenas.
Oh.
Yeah. So why was this song and the video so significant for you?
It was significant for me because I actually that song was a tribute to my parents. Because they worked so hard to give me what I have right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, they both work 2 jobs trying to take care of me and my siblings. And, you know, I think a lot of the times, you know, parents don't think kids think about that or see that, you know, times when they're not around. And so I really wanted to write a song that was a great attribute to them. Because I think when I look at my life, I'm not a materialistic person or anything. I'm a very simple person, and it really came from that, you know, and being raised like that. So I wanted a song that, let's say a future partner wanted to know who I am, that song would tell them who I am. And so that's why that song was like significant to me. And then when we shot the video, I wanted to shoot the video to again symbolize that tribute to my parents, but at the same time also really foreshadow what the thing was about. And it's about parents working hard to provide for their kids. And so that's why the video was shot the way that you saw.
It was, and I know it won like every award that it probably could have. So,
Yo, that was a crazy experience. That was my first time submitting to film festivals, and I mean, when the first one came, I was excited.
Yeah.
And then when the others kept coming in, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think we had 5 total, and we actually won 1 overall at the DC Film Festival.
Yes.
We actually won the best film music video at that film festival. So that was cool.
And that's, you know, I loved that, like, especially you talking about that, because I guess
I don't know why I would think my kids don't see the things, and maybe because I try to not have them see the hard times or whatever, because like even with my parents, there might have been things I saw that they thought I didn't see, right?
Yeah.
And like I remember one time my daughter, and I was a single mother, had 2 kids, and I think she was 13 or 14, and I was like sleeping on a mattress like in the living room, and they had their own room, but we were in a really good school district, and she like was watching TV, and someone was talking about being broke, and she was like, Mommy, have we ever been broke? And I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. I fooled them. Like,
that's amazing.
I was just like, oh my gosh, just for them to not feel like they were lacking.
Yeah. It's a great testament that, they had everything they needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's awesome. Kudos to you.
Yeah. Well, one's my daughter left, and my son, he's gone next year. So I've kept him alive this long. That's kind of what I think about. Like, whew, you survived this, because it was touch and go, getting on my nerves, but that's neither here nor there. The other one, It's Not You, also tearing up, about sexual assault. And the chorus, said, even don't blame it on yourself, which was like so touching for me. And I felt like the tone and the production on this song was spot on. Did you pick the track, or did you write the song and then create it afterwards?
So the interesting thing about me is when I write my music, I know exactly what type of like sounds I'm looking for. Because I used to make beats, but I stopped just to focus more on songwriting and the business aspect. And so when it came to that song, I knew exactly thematically what I wanted to sound like. And so when we went into the studio, I wanted it to be simple. That song, the beat is so simple because I wanted people to hear the words.
Yeah.
I didn't want the beat to distract from what I was trying to communicate. Mm-hmm. And so it was just a matter of sharing some references with my producer. And everything about my song is built from top to bottom. So
yeah,
none of it is like, pre-made or, I'm buying beats or anything. Like I go in the studio and we create every beat from scratch. As you can see in some of my behind the scenes that I've posted. Mm-hmm. So that was really a collaboration between me and my producer. I told him what exactly I was envisioning, and we worked together to bring it to life.
Yeah. And you kind of were inspired by certain experiences that you heard about. Yeah. From I guess, a college that you worked at, or university?
Yeah, so I work in the college environment. I have my master's in student affairs and higher ed. And working in residence life, particularly in the college setting, that's a frequent thing that we deal with. It's part of protocol.
Yeah.
Where, if you're on duty one weekend, you could get 2 calls of students who've been sexually assaulted.
Oh my gosh.
We'd have to go and respond to them, call the police, and, kind of take them through that whole process and provide them resources. And so, and I also have personal friends that have been through that space that I've had to support. And so, with the type of person that I am, I always want to write music that highlights certain things that I know is real for people. And so that's what really inspired that song, is just that message. Because I know that there are a lot of people who want to hear that type of message, that it's not their fault or that they shouldn't blame it on the dress.
You know what's crazy is my daughter, when she went away to college, I got her every weapon that was allowed to be shipped. She had a butterfly knife, a taser, she had bear spray, mace. I mean, when I'm telling you everything, she had it was that she had on her keychain. And what's interesting is when she was in school in Hawaii, she actually had to use the taser once.
Oh, wow.
Because she was coming out of work, and one of the customers there was like a drug addict, but I guess that night he was really tweaking, like not like the regular.
Yeah.
And he came a little too close for her, and she tased him, and she ran to the Starbucks and called herself a Lyft. I was like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, that song absolutely represents a lot of things that women and men go through, So, do you remember the first song that you've ever wrote?
Yeah. First song I ever wrote was I think it's called Waiting for You.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was at the time I was working with my friend Eddie Mensah.
Okay.
And he had a beat pack.
Okay.
And he just sent me the beat pack and he was like, "Yo, write to this. Let me see what you got," type thing. And he was also trying to learn how to be a producer and everything. And so I would say that would be the first song that I ever wrote. Was probably like "Wait for Me."
Okay.
And I say song as in like start to finish. I wrote a full song, not like a scrap
pieces.
Here. Yeah. I would say that's the full song.
I don't know if you do this, but so I write songs too, and I had this producer, and he said, "Your favorite word is strife, right?" I was like, why? He was like, "You put that in every song that you write." I was like, "Not everyone." He was like, "Almost." So is there like a particular word you found yourself using more often? You're like, "I got to get out of this."
Maybe not a word, but more like I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's in a lot of my songs. I don't know, or I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
I was I can't be the only one.
And obviously maybe like love, because all my songs have like that foundational element in it. So probably love. You can find that word in somewhere within my lyrics.
So, so you have a program called More Than Music, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that? Because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So More Than Music was a platform that I developed. It's an interactive show, an intimate show, and it was really built to help people connect on an interpersonal level. And so essentially imagine going to a show. At this show, you can actually sit comfortably, kind of like MTV Unplugged. However, if you went there with, like, let's say your friend, during the show, the whole entire show, you wouldn't be sitting next to your friend. You'll be sitting to a random stranger that you don't know.
Yeah.
And so ideally, what I do within that space is I guide people through dialogue. I pose questions like, where are you from? Who are you? Do you think you're living your true, authentic self? But there are a series of questions throughout the whole show where I show music videos and I perform, but I also storytell and answer the questions for myself. And then I pose it back to the audience to help kind of ease the space so they can have that dialogue and answer the questions and share their own stories. And I really developed it because, especially with where we're going with technology and things like that, people don't talk anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember the days where, I could go talk to my neighbor or hang out with my neighbor and all of that. Those days are gone, And so this generation does not know that feeling. And so with technology and where technology is going, I wanted to create a music space that challenged the way that we interact and really force people to, depending on like however they feel comfortable, engage with somebody that you don't know, because that's the only way that your world is going to open, when you become more open to the people that live in this world with us, because nowadays everything is just so closed off and people don't even say hi,
Right.
Rarely.
And I'm like, I rent a house over here, and I've made it a point to know my neighbors. And then I had one who like did this list with everyone's name and their like pets in case they get lost. And we keep lights in the windows, just kind of as showing community, and we go and we talk to you. And it's super important that, we do that. And the other thing, like, with my son, he goes to a park over here. and he walks there. And what's important to me is everyone knows my son on this block. This isn't some random black kid boy walking around that someone's going to call the cops on, or any, like the fact that they know him to the point where the people by the park let him walk through their backyard.
Okay. Wow.
You see what I'm saying? And so like, that's why I stay here, because I'm like, this is a community. So I understand what you're saying, because, you know, most people are just kind of like, let me hurry up and get in the house. And being from the East Coast, I'm like that, but I've made a conscious effort to kind of like get to know people. So that's really awesome. Actually, I really like that.
Yeah. More than music. I mean, with COVID and everything, I haven't done that type of show in a while. But when things return to normal, I'll look to book that type of show. So be on the lookout.
I will. I'd love to like see that or participate or anything, you know, if you take me. So more recently, you've been doing some, you know, collaborations, Red Light with, is it Code Color?
Yeah, Code Color.
And I thought again, like the tone was really, really smart. And then what I appreciate about you is that you make sure that the production and your voice always makes sense. You know what I mean? It never seems like it's fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm glad you noticed that. It's very intentional. You know, once I found those producers, I haven't worked with any other producer.
Really?
Yeah. So yeah, I've been working with those producers at the Spot Studios since 2013.
Wow.
You know, those guys, we've grown together as a production team and myself as an artist. We've grown together. The songs have gotten better the more we've learned each other's styles and everything and what we like. And so, yeah, it's a match made in heaven. And yeah, I'm glad you noticed that, because it's very intentional. You know, I want people to enjoy the song from quality to lyrics and everything. Because
the thing is like you have like a really great alto voice, which is not common. You know what I'm saying? It's not even, you know, I was pushing it when I was saying, oh, he's a tenor. And I'm like, stop it, Zag. Like, we all know that, you know, you have a strong alto voice, but you can do the tenor work. And, you know, you're so like technical about it, and you can tell. And I love that, you know?
Yeah.
And even in Can't Stop Now, was that with Cadence? Is that how you say the name? Yeah. That was a great one too.
Thank you.
Do you have plans to do like an album or like a new EP? What's happening?
So I'm actually dropping an EP on June 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah. It's so I'm sitting on I would say at least 5 3-song EPs.
Okay.
Yeah, that I've done. So one of them actually has a music video that's already been done. Like every song has a music video, and it tells a story. We worked 3 years on that with a cast. So I'm rarely in the music video, but it tells a story.
Yeah.
The topics cover faith, suicidal awareness, as well as like hardship. And so I have a bunch of projects that I'm just going to be releasing in the months to come. But this one that I'm going to release on the 2nd is called Zoom Zoom. I'm super excited about it. It's going to be, one of the songs is going to be animation based. And that's what we're actually going to use to really catapult the marketing for the whole song.
Yeah.
And then hopefully if it does really well, we hope to do an animation for the rest of the other 2 songs. But it's called Zoom Zoom, and there's a song on there also called Zoom Zoom. And it's with a reggae band, Tatanka, formerly, but the 2 guys of that reggae band formed another group called Guidance. So it's my collaboration with Guidance.
Got it. So is that the behind the scenes that I saw on your YouTube with it from Jamaica to Denver?
No,
it wasn't those guys. Okay.
No, that was Copa Stone.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So he's on the song Live Again on the Chosen album.
Okay.
Which covers homelessness and poverty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's interesting also about you is that You know, I always say I'm a huge fan of country music, and I'm a fan of country music because they could talk about a boot on the corner and it's like the best damn song that you ever heard. You know what I mean? Like how much they love that damn boot. The laces never break, you know, things like that. And but the thing that I like about you is your songs are like that. Like this isn't, hey, every song is a different type of love song. It's like, no, my passion is music and my purpose is delivering these messages and letting people know that they're understood in more ways than just the, you know, heartbreak.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really, really cool.
Wow, that's a huge compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, because you don't hear about that a lot. Like, you know, people will do one-offs. You know what I mean? And they'll do something, you know, for suicide prevention and this kind of stuff. But I feel like this is, you know, this is what you're supposed to do, is really kind of like touch on all of these subjects, and you do it well. It's not like, you know, some random, you know, you're going through strife your whole life. That's not nice. You know what I mean? This is like really good music.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no. I think that's my thing is, you know, if you read my bio, it says that I'm very interested in human connections as well as like lived life experiences.
Yeah.
And I was very intentional in putting that in my bio because, you know, when I have conversations with people, it's like we all have real lived life experiences, right?
Yeah.
And for music to portray that and really depict that and share that, that's what draws me to music, you know? And so as a musician, I always wanted to do the same and give back. So I think that's also the challenge, right, of being an indie artist, is because, you know, it's going to take a lot more work for a record like mine to like blow up and hit the mainstream, because it's not the type of record that, you know, you would hear on the radio. Mm-hmm. But there is an audience for that type of music. And so I think for me, I'm very intentional that, you know, no matter what happens within my career, I stay on that same path, putting out that same message. And so, yeah, my goal is never to do one-offs.
Well, the thing, and it's interesting you say that, because now I think your audience is probably a lot bigger, especially because of COVID. Like this is definitely the time to release all of that stuff, because people are really paying attention now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's coming. Don't worry.
Oh, I know. Because I'm going to pump the shit out of that on my page. So, like, don't worry about that.
Thank you.
So, you're managing 2 artists right now, right? So, how did that start? And, like, how did that start? And were you looking for anything in particular as far as, like, when you bring people on?
So, it started because I took some time. When I took time, I really wanted to learn the industry. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, I mean, you know, Atlantic Records is over there. Warner Records is over there. You know, those guys have been there for a very long time. It's a company. It's a system, right? And just like any entrepreneur who wants to be an entrepreneur, you build your own company. And so as an artist, I just really, you know, got to the point where I said, you know, I've been grinding really hard. Mm-hmm. However, I'm not seeing the results that I want. Yes, my music is getting into places, but, you know, there has to be a different way to do this game. So I just took some time and just learned the industry. I looked at like Atlantic Records, for example, and looked at almost every department that they had, almost every branch, people in there, what their jobs were. And then I started putting the picture together. And so by the time that I finished kind of wrapping up what I would say my learning journey was, I realized, holy crap, I've kind of like built my own entity of a record label, of a record company. And so with that, you know, I'm always collaborating with people, or I'm always seeing talent. And every time I see talent, a lot of the times with what I've built, I'm like, yo, I know exactly where you need to be marketing, or I know exactly what your brand should be, your focus should be. And so when it came to it, Brittany Jane was an artist that I manage now, but when we started working together, it was just collaborating. She's on 3 songs that I haven't released yet, that I plan to release. And she's so talented. And I just hated that, you know, not to say that her talent was going to waste, but it wasn't going anywhere. And so I, you know, with all the conversations that me and her have had, her coming to me for questions and all of that, it just got to the point that I said, you know what, I really see a great future for you. And it's just going to be easier if I just bring you along with me. And so that's how that like management relationship started. And with 303 Elijah, I was just on Instagram and I just stumbled upon his page. I just noticed that he didn't have much going on in terms of like social media presence and all of that. But I saw a raw talent that that I enjoy, you know, in terms of what I saw from his music. And so I just reached out to him and his management team at the time that he was working with, and I just want to be a collaborative partner. And it just happened that they were sort of dismantling, and it was just the right transition. And you know, so he came on board with me, and so we actually just finished his 2 singles in the studio this past weekend. So we're gonna be working to release that pretty soon.
That's cool. And I think, you know, there's a level of selflessness that it takes to be a manager that I actually don't have. And not that I'm like a mean person, but it's like, because to me, I give a lot to like my kids. And I will be honest, someone told me that I'm not very, that I empathize, but I don't sympathize because of the things that I've been through and how I've worked through things. So I can't, it's hard for me to kind of like see someone, like doing something. And I'm like, all you got to do is, you know, get 5 more jobs. It's, that's not everyone. Right. And so and that goes for teachers and that kind of stuff. So I think that you definitely have that in you, you know, that disposition to like, not just see the talent in people, but really kind of like care and like invest so much in them. And that's really important.
Thank you. It hasn't been an easy journey, you know?
I know it's not. I know I've heard stories, so I know it's not.
Yeah. Trying to build my own company, my artistry, as well as bring other people along with me. So, you know, those 2 are like family at this point. So it makes it easy.
So what has surprised you the most about yourself, you know, since you started and really kind of focused on, you know, your music?
What surprised me about myself? I think my ability to learn. And when I say learn, I think when COVID started and everything, I got to the point for the first time in my life where I felt like I couldn't learn anymore. Like my brain was hurting so much from the amount of information and everything that I was learning that I legit could not look at a computer screen. I legit could not take in new information. And I never experienced that in my life before. And so I realized that the more that I was learning how, you know, marketing should be going, how marketing should be working, when to reach out to radio, how to tackle blogs and all those other things, and just understanding Facebook ads and all of that, you know, it's almost like neurons just firing, processing and thinking, that I was so overwhelmed, you know, because I wanted to get to work right away. And it's like my brain is still trying to organize the information that was coming in. And so that surprised me for the first time in my life, because I got to the point where I was like, I cannot learn any new information. You know, I could not. And so that was surprising to know that, holy crap, like, how do I take everything that I've just learned and like compartmentalize it, and also like set a timeline, because I can't do all of it. But how do I like restructure and organize with all that I've gained? And so that was something that surprised me. I never thought I'd hit the point where, you know, I experienced that.
You know what's crazy? It's crazy you say that, because that happened to me with Clubhouse. No, you know how Clubhouse is. You get on and then you're on. Like when you first get on, you're on for 5 days straight. Fuck it. You're on there like 2 a.m. in the morning. And it's like you're getting all that. And I was on there early enough to where it wasn't like I got on, you know, last year. So it was still like kind of a small niche thing. Yeah. I was getting so much information and good information.
Yeah.
But what I found myself doing was getting all of this information and not applying it because I was busy getting the information. Yeah. And then it was like you said, it was so much. And I stopped and I said, how is this useful to me if I'm not doing anything with it? And so I had to, like, I probably haven't been on in 2 days. And I'll be like, now I'm smart about how I use it. And now I, apply a lot of the things that I learned. And like you said, I schedule it out like, okay, how do I do this marketing? What's happening in Canva? What's going on with? So I completely understand, because your brain is so full. Mm-hmm. You're like, listen, enough, stop. And then I'll watch a dumb movie. I'll watch probably, like, I think one night my head was hurting and I watched Aquaman. Yeah. Like, that's like something that completely just did not let me
brainless.
Think. Huh?
Brainless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what about the industry has, like, kind of caught you off guard or surprised you?
I think, honestly, nothing's really surprised me. Or okay, so I would say I know why the record labels are the way they are. That's one thing like really surprised me, because seeing myself as, sort of like my own indie music exec now, always having to make business moves with both of my artists, how we do business. I think that's what surprised me in terms of, like, why record labels are the way they are. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I was like, knowing that I want to do business the right way. Yeah. And not screw people over. But yes, that part was a eye-opening experience to be like, wow, I know why labels operate the way they operate. Yeah. Because it's a lot, like, I'm over here building my own company and my own resources and tools. I can only imagine how many years it took Warner and Atlantic or Def Jam to be established, to be able to, be more like a pipeline and bring artists through and get them to where they need to go and everything, And so, that part hit me hard.
So all of this, we got a label, you write, you sing, you produce, you're a manager, you have all of this going on. So what are your hopes? Like, what is this all leading to for the future?
Honestly, I feel like there's a lot that could be done, when it comes to the music industry. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, for me, I want to get to the point, or what I want to see is for me to get to the point where I can live off of it full time, mm-hmm. as well as both of my artists to live off of it full time, mm-hmm. And see their career develop in a way where they can support their families with their art. That's honestly what I care about and what I want to see happen. How we're going to get there, there's so many ways that we can get there. But to me, that's the end goal, is that we want to wake up every day and, whether we have a brick and mortar building where we're creating, interacting, our families are coming, you know what I'm saying? Like, more like a family house where we just have fun. We just love what we're doing. And we're able to make money off of it. That's the end goal, is to have that type of business.
Yeah. Now, you have been in Denver for a long time. Are you intentionally staying here? Because, most people in the music scene, they go here and there. And I don't know if it's you saying, I'm going to establish this here, and make it, kind of recognized. Is that intentional?
I want to. I think I always want, when people think about Denver, I would love for people to associate Mawule Music Group to Denver when they think about a great indie label, or, when you think about Dreamville and J. Cole, you think about North Carolina, you don't think about LA, you think about North Carolina. Yeah. So I would love to have that type of, like, reputation with Mawule Music Company and Mawule Music Group when it comes to the industry. So I'd love to do that here. I have thought about plans of moving to LA, but that's more strategic, just to place myself in a situation where I can build my network and my social capital. But in the end, I still would want my roots to come back to Denver and establish something here in Denver. So I'm being optimistic to where the Lord's going to guide me. Yeah. What signs I'm going to get, what opportunities are going to open up for me. I'm very open to it. So at this point, I'm open to going where the next goal or the next path is going to take me. But ideally, I'd like to set up a shop here in Denver.
Yeah. What do you want people to know that they don't already know about you and about your music?
Man, I feel like people know a lot because I'm sure you follow me on social media, you can see I'm very open. Mm-hmm. I'm not a closed person or anything. So I don't know. What would I want people to know? I think a lot of people know this, but if people don't know, like, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this for the money. In fact, I when the whole pandemic happened, I left my full-time job. I'm kind of in 8 to 5 now, just because I need to get my finances back. But I left, moved in with a couple of my buddies. I have my own, I would say my bachelor pad and everything. Mm-hmm. I sacrificed that just to pursue the next vision that I saw for myself with beyond my music. What I'm doing is bigger than me, and so I guess I would want people to know, like, I'm not doing it for money. If anything, like, any money I make, I'll probably give it back in some way, in some shape, to
talk about it.
So that's who I am, to the core.
Thank you very much for coming on this show. Like,
Thanks,
I've been actually like kind of low key stalking you for a while, and so and then you started like changing my life through your stories. But we'll leave that alone. But I'm really happy you took the time and you made time to like come on and like talk about your music. And can you tell everyone where they can find you, please?
Yeah, music Mawule or Mawule, Mawule. Really, when it comes to branding, I made sure that when people Google that, they can find me anywhere. So music Mawule.
Okay.
Everywhere, music Mawule.
Well, thank you again, like, so much for coming on. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Talent You Should Know. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well as leave a review. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.